So, Bill, tell me a little bit about your space shuttle experience in the mid '80s.
So I was working on the IBM PC team, the original IBM PC team, and was asked to be on the team to help fit out what we call general purpose computers to replace very specialized industrial military computers for the Space Shuttle launch. Okay, they wanted to get away from all this specialized computer hardware that was difficult to maintain. It was limited. It was only 8-bit. It wasn't 16-bit. So they wanted to go to IBM ATs. So we did that. We replaced all the existing what they call Modbus 8-bit computers with IBM ATs throughout the entire launch control system complex and the launch control systems on the pad. So basically all the telemetry, for the heat and electricity and all the other sensors, pressure sensors, and all this kind of stuff for the rockets, etc. So that had to be monitored when they're doing the launch. So if there was anything out of parameter, basically they would cancel the launch, figure out what's broke. Okay, so I was after we got this all fitted out, all the equipment changed out, they're getting ready to do their first launch with all the IBM ATs installed. And as we were getting close to the launch time, the noise created by the power supplies in the IBM ATs was creating a disturbance on all the sensors on the space shuttle, on the rocket boosters and the liquid fuel tank and the telemetry on the pad and all. Everything started getting irrespective of whether it was right or wrong. It basically got unstable readings. It would be reading fine in parameters, then something go out of parameters, then come back in parameter, and then go out of parameter and come back in. We couldn't figure out what the source was because we tested it manually, and the sensors are reading right, and there was no problem. But the launch control was getting wrong data. So what we found out was that the power supplies on the IBM ATs were so noisy, they were disrupting the sensors and the wiring for the sensors. And basically we got within 20 seconds of the space shuttle launch with this new IBM ATs, and the space shuttle launch got canceled because of it.
And what actually caused that new system to cause dirty?
The power supplies were so dirty, they were putting noise.
Is that because you're on different voltages, or because?
Because it was switching from AC to DC, and the noise factor was really high on the power lines, and so it was basically corrupting the entire environment. So the sensors couldn't get a clean signal from the sensors because of this disruption. And so we were asked if we would immediately fix the problem. So we spent 2 weeks in a deep dive and re-engineered the entire power supply system for the IBM ATs to remove the noise factor from the power supplies, the switch mode power supplies inside the PC. And so today most main tower type or desktop PCs, not power supplies for laptops, but for main PCs, basically have a new standard that was sponsored by NASA to the FCC, and now there's a thing called EMC regulations, called FCC Class B specifications, which is the noise on the power line. And that's basically the new standards that have been in place for God knows how long, 20, 30 years. And basically from that exercise I learned a lot about switch mode power supplies, the engineering of them, how to make them clean, what happens when they're dirty, why do they get dirty. And so today still the problem is that the Chinese are now manufacturing our computers, and the FCC doesn't have a lot of control over them. They say it has to meet FCC specs, so they send one sample unit to be certified, and now they basically remove the certification, so now it's self-certifying. So the Chinese self-certify their power supplies as being EMC, FCC Class B compliant, but nobody knows if they are or not. And you'll find many laptops have power supplies that are very dirty.
And that's kind of corrupting the grid?
Absolutely. And all the wires in your house, if you have a big computer system in your house, you're going to have all kinds of noise problems.
Now, how'd you end up fixing the space shuttle? Did you put a filtration system in there?
We put in a very heavy duty filtration system to keep the switching on power supply from back feeding noise onto the power line that feeds the computer. And then of course that goes into the circuit of the house and building. Okay, so
Yeah, so we can do that now. We get our DNA filters, and we can still.
we can filter it, but it's expensive.
Mhm.
It would have been better to fix it at the source,
Right.
which is what we did with the IBM AT. We fixed it at the source. Okay, and that was back when we made ATs here in the country. Now, no PCs are made in country, so the FCC regulations and their enforcement is relaxed.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, so this is what this is all about.
Okay.